George Tab. Welcome to Dual Attention. Welcome to our 5th episode. Oh my gosh, this has been a lot of fun. This has definitely been a labor of love, right? And I'm absolutely excited because today I want to follow up on the 4 distancing strategies, part 2. So I've gotten a lot of questions and I'm going to try to answer as many of these questions as I can. But it seems like one main question that I've been getting is how would you use these metaphors? Oh, and also a major approved basic trainer, and I'm an approved consultant, and I'm certified in EMDR. And so please feel free to reach out and contact me if you're looking for an event speaker. Please contact if you want a private training for your organization, or even if you want to attend one of my live in-person trainings or virtual trainings, reach out to George at victorycoachingandconsultation.com. George at victorycoachingandconsultation.com. Okay, so the question was asked, would you use these metaphors? When would you use these metaphors? And if there's any indications or contraindications? And so sometimes what I realize, I do a lot of things and it's just natural and you don't really give it a lot of thought. But this was really good. This question was good because it gave me the opportunity to kind of reflect on what I do and why I do it. And so I think they're all effective to do, and I think they all do a great job at creating, all 4 of the strategies, distance strategies are great for creating distance for your clients and helping them not get absorbed in the memory, which allows them to stay in their window of tolerance. So we want our clients we want them to not get absorbed in the memory, but we want them to reprocess the memory. And so the goal is to allow your clients to process and not and desensitize the memory, not relive the memory. So these 4 distancing strategies will help your clients create distance in their memory. So because clients that have experienced trauma, there's some a little, some a lot, depending on where they are on the dissociation scale. So, but clients dissociate out of the session. So when they're not in session, it's just a natural part. And so it can easily become a primary method to go to for our clients to manage stress and for stress management and getting through life's, difficulties, right? And so I think in considering which strategy to use, when and where and how to use it, so I would want to know where my client grew up. Have they ever rode the bus or the train before? What part of the country are they from? Oh, by the way, go back and listen to episode 4, because that may help you put a bow around, although I'm gonna get through everything. But I think it would be helpful if you went back and you listened to episode 4. And so I want to know where my client grew up and have they ever rode a bus or a train before? What part of the country are they from? Are they an immigrant, right? So it seems like something that would be common sense. But I think you'll be surprised at how much the little commonsensical things never come up in therapy, right? Like race, like social economic status, like culture. So these things oftentimes get overlooked in therapy. I've even heard, therapists say, George, well, I don't see color. Well, how's that possible? Without making me invisible, right? Because one of the first things that you will notice about me is that I am a African-American male, right? And so another interesting fact, so anybody know what's the most segregated time of the week and day of the week? Okay. Or let's just say the day of the week. And any idea what day that is? Okay, it's Sunday, right? It's church, when people go to church. Typically church is separated, by race. So point being, just because the intentions are good, it doesn't mean that it's not influenced by race, culture, social, economic status. And so those things need to be considered as we're providing therapy to Black and Brown people, right? So again, go back. I'll put the link in the commentary in the bottom, so you can just click on that and you can go to that next episode, that fourth episode. I'm sorry. So you can go to the fourth episode. So I'm gonna go through each one of the 4 interventions that I gave, and I will just talk briefly about them and some of the considerations as I thought about it, right? And so the movie or the big screen, right? So I usually say, the big screen, or I'll say the movie, because sometimes people haven't been to a movie before, but they've seen a 60-inch big screen, right? So now I probably use this one the most, and I'll say something like project it up on the screen and watch it or observe it as it's happening. And so if someone had a negative belief of being helpless or trapped, if someone had difficulty with affect management, with the internal emotional management, I think this process, it really it is creating that distance. It may be a slow movement because movies typically, don't move pretty fast, not in contrast to being on a train, right? And so if the negative belief is something like I'm trapped or I'm helpless, a client can be in complete control and they can manage it. And so they can shut it down, they can pause it, they can fast forward, they can turn it off. Okay, so that's the cool thing about, so that would be a consideration for me as I use this intervention as I'm working with my clients. Now the train is probably the second most that I use. And again, hey, where are you from, right? So are you from New York or are you from North Carolina? If you're from New York, you rode a train a lot, more than likely. If you're from North Carolina, not so much. I mean, we've got Tweetsie Railroad, right, up in the mountains. And I think Charlotte's got a little rail train. And so from North Carolina, maybe not so much, maybe. And so therefore, they're not going to have that point of reference, right? So I want to know, have you ever been on a train before? So, and then if they've been on a train, and we're going to use that metaphor. So I'm going to watch this scene as if you were looking out the window of the train. So I'm looking for greater distance. Obviously, this is going to be a lot more fast moving. And so I'm really not concerned about my clients getting absorbed in the memory, because, those memories are going to be, passing by pretty quickly. Right. And so watch the scene. So let's go to the bus. So far we've talked about the movie. We've talked about the movie, the big screen, the train, and the bus. So now we're talking about the bus. So watch it. And the bus and the train, pretty much similar metaphor. So watch the scene like you were looking out of the window of a bus. So I would use the bus very similar to that I would use the train. It just really all depends on which one my client is most familiar with. Okay. And so, so you do want to know that point of reference for your client. And then the river. I love the river, right? Because, watch the river flow past as you stand on the shore. So there, you're secure, the client is secure, but the river is passing by. And what do we know about a river? It can be calming. I have water sounds playing in my office. So using a river metaphor can be very calming. Now, obviously, if you're doing virtual sessions, not so much, but I see probably 50% of my clients are in office and 50% of my clients are virtual. So I like that option for them. And so, so the thing to remember about the river is they're standing on the shore, but there's no control. There's no throttling on the river. So that's a consideration. So you want to keep that in mind. So I think the one that gives your clients the most control is the movie with the remote. Okay. And so I think I may have left that out on part one of this podcast. Hey, thank you for listening in. I hope this has been helpful. And I'm going to do something. I'm also creating a YouTube account for dual attention. And so you'll also be able to go over to the YouTube page and watch this. So I'm gonna put both of these. These will be my first two videos. So part one of this 4 distancing strategy will be my first YouTube video, and this one will be the second YouTube video. So thanks for listening in. I hope you're having a great day, and God bless you. Bye-bye for now.